You're listening to Win the Day with James Whittaker.
What we doing live echoes in eternity.
Broadcasting from Los Angeles, California. Here's your host, James Whittaker.
Let's go.
Welcome back to Win the Day, where I interview some of the world's best performers to give you everything you need to take ownership of your financial, physical, and mental health. The quote for this episode comes from Buddha and says, "When things change inside you, things change around you." This will be the last episode for 2020, and it's a solo one with me, but if you're new to the show, there's dozens of other episodes for you to check out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube, and you'll find a link to those in the show notes. This episode will feature my third annual holiday gift guide. Each year, I give recommendations of some of the things that have made a considerable impact in my life throughout the year, and I know they'll do the same for you. Before we begin, when it comes to gifts this holiday season, rather than squandering money on things with little long-term value, consider giving something practical, like a life-changing book that gets the recipient excited about taking ownership of their future. Aside from allowing us to delve into the minds of the most inspiring and innovative people who ever lived, books are a great gift because they sit there staring back at us, providing gentle prompts, imaginative thought, and unprecedented motivation when we need it most. In fact, many of the people I interviewed for Think and Grow Rich: The Legacy noted that in times of distress, just staring at the cover of books like Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich made them feel better about themselves. Audiobooks have again been a huge focus for me this year because you can listen with an increasing playback speed and also listen while you're doing something else, like going for a walk or doing exercise or driving, which is especially good if it's a book you want to listen to with someone else at the same time. Your mind gets amazingly good at an increased playback speed, and now I can listen to most books at about 1.5, 1.6 times, and you can simply rewind 15 or 30 seconds if there's a point you missed or if you want to reinforce. For people who struggle with traditional books, I highly recommend audiobooks, although if you're looking at a gift for someone other than yourself, perhaps a hardcover book is better. Anytime I find a book that really speaks to me, I also make sure to grab a copy of the hardcover version too, that I can use as a quick reference point whenever I need it. And the number one book I read this year is actually an audiobook, as you'll see later in this episode. As we get started, I want to quickly reinforce today's quote once more. When things change inside you, things change around you. Filling your mind with the knowledge you need is the best way to transcend your circumstances so you can achieve whatever you want in life, irrespective of what happened in your past. Every book I have read has changed my life in one way or another, so that hunger for learning should hopefully be a priority for you too. There's also one book in here that has made the list 3 years running, which I'll reveal near the end, so stick around for that one. Without further ado, here are the books that I think would make the best gifts this holiday season for you, a friend, or a loved one. They're mentioned by category rather than in any ranking order, so just pick whichever one intrigues you the most. Let's get into it. To kick things off, the best book to future-proof your life is Millennial Samurai by George Chanos. Many of you first came across George in episode 27 of the Win the Day show, where he spoke about the technological tsunami that's sweeping the earth. That push to automation has only increased during the COVID era, and this book contains hundreds of practical tips that you can use to prepare yourself for a world so different that even futurists have a hard time predicting it. George does an excellent job at communicating what some of those breakthroughs are likely to be in this very easy-to-read book. George has had an extraordinary career as Attorney General of Nevada, chairman of restaurant chain Capriotti's, and even argued successfully in front of the United States Supreme Court. His book, Millennial Samurai, contains insights into artificial intelligence and so many other things that will rapidly transform the world in the next 30 years, and gives you a detailed plan to ensure you're able to massively leverage the future rather than be made redundant by it. George is an incredibly insightful bloke, and if you want to future-proof your life or be one of the leaders in the future, Millennial Samurai is the book for you. Our second book on the list is The Road to Success by Brandon T. Adams and Samantha Rosine. Brandon and Sam released this book in conjunction with their TV show Success in Your City, which details their journey all over America to find out the true meaning of success. Together, they interviewed some incredible people who have defied the odds and created a life more meaningful than they ever imagined. Both the TV show and the book also include their wedding in Nashville, which was an amazing time, and fun fact, I was actually the marriage officiant. It's the first and only time I have been a marriage officiant. But the two themes of the book I enjoyed the most are, first, the focus on the unrelenting work required to make something of yourself. Brandon and Sam have both been through so much, and to be taken into those moments is something special. And second, how raw this book is. Nothing about the journey is sugar-coated, not the imminent threat of bankruptcy, or their relationship teetering on the edge, or their struggles to even keep the project alive. They each even go into their earlier memories from their own journeys that are so powerful, to acknowledge them here simply wouldn't do them justice. If you want the perfect gift for a young adult with big dreams who is looking to pursue a career as an entrepreneur, The Road to Success is highly recommended. Our third book on the list is one I just finished last week, and it's absolutely incredible. It reads like fiction. It's a first-hand account of Canadian Bruce Kirkby, an engineering physicist by trade who quit his high-paying 9-to-5 job so he could spend his days in the great outdoors as a rafting guide. One day, after seeing how addicted he was to his iPhone, Bruce and his wife, Christine, decided to spend 6 months living in a Buddhist monastery in the Himalayas so they could disconnect from modern life and reconnect with their 2 young children. An extremely random turn of events led to our mutual friend Wes Denning, who's a very successful TV producer here in LA, coaxing Bruce into the idea of filming a TV show that documented their experience, which turned into a journey from Canada that went to Korea, India, Tibet, and a whole heap of other places like Mount Everest, with Bruce, his wife Christine, and their 2 young boys, on one condition: they wouldn't use an airplane the entire time. That journey became the TV show My Big Crazy Family Adventure, which was a top-rated show on the Travel Channel. Bruce is such a wonderful guy, and his insights about what it means to reconnect with being human are a must-read for all of us in this increasingly distracted era that we're in. Bruce also delves into the challenges of having a son on the autism spectrum, while balancing the rigors of modern life and the stress of a 6-month backpacking trip through Asia with the film crew documenting their every move. The language in this book is so creative, and I can't recommend it highly enough. So check out Blue Sky Kingdom by Bruce Kirkby. That's my recommendation on the best book for parenting. My best book for personal growth is Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite by Napoleon Hill. This was released just 2 months ago and has been getting rave reviews. It's based on the initial conversation between Napoleon Hill and Andrew Carnegie. Hill at the time, as you probably know, was a young reporter who was tasked with interviewing Carnegie, who is one of the most successful people who ever lived, both in wealth accumulation and entrepreneurship and philanthropy. In fact, before he died, Carnegie gave away almost his entire fortune so it could be used to help make the world a better place. This book will show you how to master self-discipline, how to learn from defeat, and how to create relationships that will give your life meaning, impact, and financial freedom. I'm so grateful that I was asked to help with this project, and you'll see examples of the world's leading individuals and companies who personify these lessons so you can have both the inspiration and the blueprint to achieve whatever you want in life and make the world a better place along the way. Andrew Carnegie's Mental Dynamite is in thousands of bookstores in pretty much every country around the world, so grab a copy today. That's my recommendation on the best book for personal growth. Next on our list is the best book for gratitude, and this is the only book that makes the list every year. If you follow me on Instagram, you've probably seen how frequently I post these as daily stories. A huge percentage of CEOs have spoken about the importance of journaling for mental well-being. Yet staring at a blank page each day can be so daunting. But the 5-minute journal provides a useful structure to start and finish the day with the right mindset. On the Win the Day show, we talk constantly about winning the day. But the best way to win the day is to know what actions you're going to take on any given day and how they relate to your long-term mission. And this book, The 5-Minute Journal, gives you a forum to be able to do just that. To me, it's been truly life-changing and is actually the book I give the most. So if you want an introduction to gratitude, this is where to start. And a lot of people ask me actually, what are those books and these stories that I post on Instagram? So now you know. It's The 5-Minute Journal, and it's my recommendation of the best book for gratitude. If you've been listening to the show for a while, you'll know how often I mention the power of relationships. Now, there's less than a handful of people on the entire planet currently alive today whose work has continually and significantly impacted my life. Without even knowing them personally, these people have spoken to me through their life-changing books and given me the confidence and tools that really inspired the mission that I'm on now and that I will continue until my dying breath. In August, just a few months ago, I was extremely grateful to have one of those people on the Win the Day show, Keith Ferrazzi. Keith is undoubtedly the global leader in relationships. In fact, he's often cited as the modern Dale Carnegie, who you might recognize as author of the book How to Win Friends and Influence People, which has been a mega bestseller. Keith's latest book, Leading Without Authority, contains a blueprint to getting other people excited in you and your mission, so it becomes a shared mission, giving you a far greater probability of making an impact and having a lot of fun along the way. What I love most about this book is how tactical it gets in the second half. In a COVID world, this is essential reading in particular, because since Keith is also one of the world's foremost experts in remote work, he shares those insights with companies like Harvard Business Review, Forbes, and the Wall Street Journal. One of my proudest moments of 2020 is having the opportunity to connect with Keith, and any of his work will change your life like it did for me. You can also check out his #1 New York Times best-selling book, Never Eat Alone, which is still featured on the bestsellers list today. So that's my recommendation for the best book on relationships, Leading Without Authority by Keith Ferrazzi. Next on our list is the best book for empowerment, and it's hard to think about that without mentioning Brené Brown. A lot of you are probably very familiar with Brené. Her work on the power of vulnerability has created a huge following, and her latest book, Dare to Lead, contains a lot of practical strategies to tap into your vulnerability and use it to strengthen rather than weaken your life. Like Keith, Brené is focused on real relationships with long-term benefits rather than transactional encounters that seek to benefit one person over another. Dare to Lead also delves into why values are so important and gives you a step-by-step guide to creating a compass that will point you in the right direction no matter what crossroad you come across in life. One big takeaway for me from this book was that vulnerability without courage doesn't exist. Now, many of you listening to this or watching on YouTube will have that voice in your ear that says you're not enough. But Dare to Lead gives you the empowerment you need so you can start to make your mark on the world. So check out Dare to Lead by Brené Brown. Now, my favorite book this year, drum roll, I know you've been waiting for this one, is my recommendation for the best book for entrepreneurs. And it's The Pumpkin Plan by Mike Michalowicz. We've actually got an interview with Mike scheduled for early next year, and I'm sure he's going to drop some incredible knowledge bombs. To be clear, The Pumpkin Plan is the best audiobook I've ever heard. Mike has this incredible energy, and if you're an entrepreneur or a professional feeling constantly burnt out or that there aren't enough hours in the day, this book will show you how to free up your time to focus on what matters most, while at the same time making a huge impact with your business. Mike has written 7 best-selling books, and in The Pumpkin Plan, he gives you a framework to turn your business from just another offering to being irresistibly magnetic. One of the biggest takeaways for me was the quote, "Your first success is being happy." Your first success is being happy. As an entrepreneur, we constantly attach our happiness to tomorrow or another date in the future, when what we should be doing is implementing a plan that gives us happiness and freedom in the present. Mike is a great dude, and you're going to love this book, especially if you're an entrepreneur. So check out The Pumpkin Plan. I highly recommend the audiobook version, and definitely keep an eye out for his episode on Win the Day coming in January 2021. The final recommendation on this list, which is the best gift or gift accompaniment for everyone, is a letter or card, handwritten, if your handwriting is not too bad, to acknowledge the recipient for all the loving and selfless actions they have taken to brighten your world and illuminate your spirit in 2020. Expressing our gratitude to one another in the long-form written medium has become a lost art, but that just means your opportunity to make an impression will be even more powerful. You've heard me say many times before that the best way to get is to give first. This holiday season, give someone a piece of your heart and watch the way your life changes as a result. I proudly recommend all these books and know they would be a welcome gift in any stocking. You can check out the show notes for links to all of those. So this year, give your friends and loved ones the inspiration and ability to help themselves. As we approach the end of 2020, I wanted to thank each and every one of you for your continued support. This will be the last episode for the year, and we'll be back stronger and bigger than ever in the second week of January with incredible guests. Seriously, you're going to absolutely love them. and their mission to help you win the day every day. If you enjoyed this episode, hit that subscribe button, and if you want to help spread the word, please give us a 5-star review and tell your friends to subscribe too. Win the Day with James Whittaker is available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want exclusive content, head over to YouTube and you'll see a bunch of videos there on our channel, what you won't find anywhere else. A link for that is in the show notes too. Have a wonderful holiday season with your loved ones and get excited for an incredible 2021. Remember to get out there and win the day. Until next year, onwards and upwards, always.